welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about image sizing for your online store. We are going to cover sizes, ratios, file types, color profiles, orientation and cropping. So are you ready? Let's get started. The size of your picture is how many pixels it is wide and tall. This is important because it's a major contributor to image quality. The more pixels you have, the higher the quality of the image. Remember that your customers need to see high quality images to make an informed decision about whether or not to buy your product. Etsy and many other online shops have a zoom function on the photos. If you do not use high quality photos, when zoomed in, the product can appear blurry, which is not what you want. So how many pixels do you need to have a high quality image? Well, that depends on the platform you are using. Etsy recommends that you have 2,700 pixels along the long edge. Other platforms have other requirements which can easily be found on Google. We will go through how to set the size later in this video. The other thing which comes into play with sizing is the overall file size. A general rule of thumb for this is to keep it below 1 megabyte. Files over 1 megabyte in size can take a long time to upload, and a lot of platforms such as Etsy don't even allow you to upload bigger files because it would just take too much space on their server. Now, the most important thing you need to know about image sizing is that the size of an image cannot be increased. If you try to increase the size of an image, you will lose a lot of quality, which you don't want to do. So don't do it. When you take a photo with your camera, it must already be at least 2,700 pixels on the long side. You can ensure this by checking your camera settings under resolution or image size, and just make sure the biggest number is 2,700 or higher. On some phone cameras, you cannot change the size of the image you are taking, but usually they are already big enough. Ratios go hand in hand with image size. A ratio is how wide an image is compared to how tall it is. For example, a square image is 1:1 ratio because the width and the height of the image are the same. 4:3 is also a popular ratio. This is where one side is slightly longer than the other. 4:3 is the ratio which Etsy recommends you use. So why are ratios important? Well, there's two reasons. One, if you upload a photo which is not at the right ratio for the space you are uploading it to, you can risk the image being cropped in a way that is not desirable. For example, part of your product may get cut off. The second reason is that if you have images of all different ratios on your site, it just doesn't look professional or consistent. Of course, you want your store to look both professional and consistent. For this reason, I recommend making all of your images either landscape at 4:3 ratio or square at the 1:1 ratio. Changing the ratio of your image is something that you will do after you have taken it by cropping the image in some kind of image editor. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to crop your images in Lightroom. This is an app that you can download for free. There are in-app purchases to access all of the features, but the crop tool is one of the free ones. And just to make it clear, I am in no way affiliated with Lightroom or Adobe. I just really like their products, which is why you see me using a lot of them and mentioning them a lot in this channel. So Lightroom actually makes it really easy for you to crop to a specific ratio with this first tool here in the cropping mode. So if we just tap on that, and at the top you can see it opens up a list of ratios here that you can use to crop to. So I'm going to choose the 1:1 ratio as I want a square image. You can see that it has automatically cropped the image to that ratio. So I can then change the crop by dragging in the corners or the side of the crop area, and it actually sticks to the same ratio. If I put my finger in the middle of the crop area, I can actually drag the image around inside of that crop area to actually get it lined up how I want it. So now that I'm happy with this crop, I just press the tick in this bottom right corner here, and that is it. Our crop is saved. The final point I want to make about cropping is that when you take your photo, make sure to leave some room around the edges to allow for cropping. Otherwise, you may not be able to crop to your desired ratio without cutting out part of your product. Okay, so the final thing to do is to get the image ready to upload. This usually involves exporting the file out of your editing software. Again, I'm going to be using Lightroom for this demonstration. So start by opening the share menu at the top here. Now there's quite a few options here, but the one that we want to be using is export as, which is the one at the bottom here. This gives us a lot of control over how the files will be exported. So the first option in here is file type. From here you can choose JPEG, TIFF, DNG. The one that we want to choose is JPG. This is the only file option which can be uploaded to the internet. So just tap on that to select it. Our next option is dimensions. Now remember at the beginning of this video I said we wanted to ensure our longest edge is 2700 pixels. Well, this is where we set that. So if you choose the custom option inside this drop down menu, you can then see that it allows you to set a long size. So I can just tap on that and I can type in 2700 pixels to ensure that the longest side of my image is 2700 pixels. The next one we have is image quality. You want this to be between 80% and 100%. I would actually say leave it on 100% unless your overall image size is coming out bigger than 1 megabyte. So I'm just going to leave that. If I tap on it, you can see you've got all the options there. I'm going to leave it on 100%. Now, if we go into the more options section, we can see that we can actually change our color space in here. So this is the last option. It's the only thing we're going to do inside the more options. So if we are uploading to the internet, we actually want this to be on sRGB. This is a color space that works across all platforms on the internet. So this will ensure that your colors stay the same. So make sure it is on sRGB. Now, if we go back out of this and we can now press the tick in the top right corner here, this brings up our sharing options for our photo. Now, I just want to point something out here. You can actually see the size of your photo up the top here. So here it is telling me that my photo is 2.1 megabytes in size. So that would actually be too big to upload to somewhere like Etsy. So this is where I would actually cancel this export. I would go back through and I would lower that image quality down to 80% to try and reduce that image size. So that is basically everything that you have. You can then share your image with your friends, you can airdrop it, you can save it. You've got all those normal sharing options that you get on your phone. Okay, so that is it for today's session. I hope that you have found this useful and it will help you with uploading your photos to your store. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tips and tricks to help with your photos. Thanks for watching. See you again next week. Bye bye.